Where are you?
Now I'm so sorry.
Wow, look at that. Sign us up. We're going on tour.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the USA Volleyball Show. If you forgot, since it is the new year, we are the official podcast of USA Volleyball. And speaking of the new year, Happy New Year to everyone. As you can kind of see, I am flying solo today. My co-host Stephen is on family leave, again, being a dad, attending to dad duty. So we'll be having a few guests joining me throughout his leave and the duration of that. Guests and special accommodations TBD, but that should be very exciting. A lot to catch up with since we kind of last all talked. AVCA, what an amazing time. Tampa was a blast. I mean, Clarence, Stephen, and myself got a chance to just do everything in between with helping out with the marketing booth, walk around and talk to a lot of the other, vendors. We had a lot of pro leagues, had activation spaces, and just got a lot of really good feedback about what, USA Volleyball has on the horizon, what these pro leagues coming up have on the horizon, and just also had a really good overall just social atmosphere with all the vendors that were happening, from, volleyball equipment to volleyballs to all of the coaches and some USA Volleyball staff members just giving presentations and giving so many insights there too. It's such a wealth of knowledge to be able to be in the presence of that much of the volleyball community. There's so much to learn. We also got a chance to, all attend the Final Four for the second year in a row, which was just amazing. All four teams really put it out on the line there, and shout out to Tampa's just event staff. I think it was really cool to see the fan zone that was implemented this year. They didn't have anything like that in Omaha last year, but I mean, granted, the weather in Tampa definitely permits that, but it was a really good Final Four showing overall. And speaking of Final Four, congrats to our NCAA champions, the University of Texas. I personally didn't get a chance to stay for the championship match, but Stephen and Curtis also did an amazing job just covering the match from pregame to start to finish to even postgame too. And also, congratulations to our friend of the pod, Asia O'Neal, for getting the match-winning ace to secure Texas back-to-back national championship run. Insane. Again, congratulations, Asia, and congratulations to the University of Texas. It's always a good time when we get to watch some high-level volleyball of that nature, too. A really good time. So thank you for AVCA for hosting us at the convention center. Also, shout out to, the NCAA for allowing us to cover the event to our, fullest potential there, too. It's always a great time. We hope to see you technically this year, and I think we're going to be going to Louisville. So might be on the horizon there this coming year in Louisville. So good little wrap up to end on a great note there. I think it is time, before we jump into this show, if you missed our last episode, be sure to go back and check it out. Episode number 81 features McKendree University's men's head coach, assistant athletic director, and director of volleyball. She wears so many hats there. Nikki Sandlin, she is amazing. Nikki goes into a lot of detail about her background in volleyball, from playing and then transitioning into the coaching realm. She also shares the difficulties that she's had breaking into the men's volleyball game from a coaching standpoint, how she persevered, and so much more. Nikki is a very inspiring woman. I mean, just getting the opportunity to listen to her talk live at the podcast center at AVCA, listening to her passion, her love for the game, and her drive and her commitment, and knowing that just the way she shows up for her teams, they show up for her in the best way possible, ready to run through a wall for her at any single moment of the day, whenever it's required there too. But I mean, really just huge inspiration. And, this is the coaching side of me, just kind of geeking out on that and just really being inspired myself. But again, amazing episode with Nikki. Be sure to check it out now on all podcast platforms and also watch the video episode on YouTube and the USA Volleyball website. Okay, now, so really awkward introducing myself again, but here it goes. Time for News with Hughes. Big heads up, we got a lot of registration updates here too, so be sure to mark your calendars if any of these pique your interest. Registration is now open for the 2024 Women's National Team Open Program. Program dates are February 23rd through the 25th at the Olympic and Paralympic Training Center. Visit the website for more details. Also, the 2024 Boys Junior National Championship registration is open, along with the 2024 Girls 18s Junior National Championship registration being open as well. Boys will be in Dallas this year. Girls 18s will be in Baltimore. So very pleasant change, new venue. Very excited to be at the Baltimore Convention Center this year. And finally, the Girls Junior National Championship 11th through 13th age divisions registration will be opening next week on January 17th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to have your calendars marked because those Patriot divisions will fill up very fast too. So good luck and Godspeed to all you guys entering that Patriot division realm. It is very, very hectic. But registration aside, the NCAA men's volleyball season has begun, and it has been so exciting to go ahead and get a chance to watch the men's volleyball. Check out our weekly updates on the website for the latest rankings and news on the USA Volleyball and TDP athletes that are participating and currently playing in their seasons. Follow along the action on USA Volleyball social media, and for more on all of the latest news, including the registration, events, all the above that we talked about, make sure that you visit usavolleyball.org. Now, on today's show, we sat down with Olympic gold medalist and U.S. Women's National Team setter Jordyn Poulter from the 2023 AVCA Convention in Tampa. Jordyn shares some of her personal interests, her recovery from injury, looking ahead to Paris, and a few more very, very, very interesting topics such as rock bands and emo night. But we'll let you guys go ahead and listen to the episode for yourself because it is an amazing one. So without further ado, let's kick it over to our interview with Jordyn.
Jordyn, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us. Excited to have you on the show and see you again. Of course, saw you in Chicago last year. But yeah, we're here in Tampa, Florida this year for the AVCA convention. And yeah, thank you for being
thank
here.
you so much for having me.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And we were talking on the way up here. This is your first time at the convention part of the NCAA's Final Four overall type thing. What's your thoughts so far? I know it's still early, but you just have finished a session. Thoughts on just the convention overall so far?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Just that so many people who love and care about the sport, much as we do, kind of come together in one place to geek out on some volley and watch good volley and connect and learn and just... Yeah, it's really cool. I feel very fortunate to get to be here and experience this, and I'm really excited for the matches on Thursday.
Yeah, I think before we dive into Thursday's matches and everything, you just actually wrapped up your first session.
I did.
Do you kind of want to talk us through that? What was it about? Details, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I had the great privilege of presenting on setting with Jim McLaughlin and Courtney Thompson. And yeah, we walked through just some of the aspects of physically coaching setting and sort of dove into the minutia of what effectively can help young setters develop and find.
I should have stayed for the whole session because I have brick hands, so I definitely would have helped me.
Yeah, no, and so Jim took a lot of that. Courtney and I don't think would classify ourselves as coaches, and even though a lot of players think that they would be able to effectively and efficiently coach, we leave that to the experts. So no, and then we got to talk about or answer some questions and interact a little bit. So it was very cool.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, and caught the end of that session, and Jim showed off some Tokyo clips, including gold medal point
Yeah.
as well, and got our little round of applause too. So that was cool to see. But and you were talking to some of the attendees as well, and doing some setting demonstration. And the leg looks good.
Yeah, the knees.
How are you feeling?
Knees feeling awesome. We're coming up on 12 months post operation, and I've been back since March. Been in Anaheim rehabbing and working with our support staff to get back to a place of being able to try and make a run next summer. So yeah, my last 2 months have been me and Karch and Tama in the gym every day, setting Karch on some go balls. He's trying his best to emulate some of our hitters. It's been fun. And then this morning, finally, first time I got to set an actual teammate of mine, Jordyn Larson, took some time away or after there, I shouldn't say took some time away, but found some time to get in the gym with me and get some reps. So I had a blast and just can't wait to get back on the court with people I love and people that I've shared such great memories with.
Yeah. Yeah, you and Jordyn are here in the same convention center.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Might as well get some reps in while you can.
Exactly.
I'm sure Karch is great and all, but
Karch
he's not
is
Jordyn
great.
Larson, right?
Correct.
He's all right.
Yes. No. Karch Cry and Jordyn Larson are very much their own people for, important and different reasons.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think it's time to open up a little bit of a fun question.
Okay.
I think this should excite you. We were singing a little bit earlier, but we hear you're a rocker. Can you tell us a little bit about some of your favorite artists, some of your favorite rocking experiences, and I have a side question after this too.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah. I really enjoy rock music.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up listening to some punk rock with my dad. Kind of, one of those things where you're forced and then it grows on you.
I actually kind of like this. Yeah.
And so I, just was exposed to a lot of music thanks to my father, and he dragged me to concerts from a young age. And I actually, when I was in high school, I skipped one of my homecoming dances to go to Riot Fest in Denver with
awesome.
my dad.
Oh my goodness.
So I don't know. I enjoy having that to bond over with him, and I love the Foo Fighters. This fall I saw the Killers.
Sweet.
I think live music in any capacity is really cool. It's similar to sports in the sense of people performing at the highest level and being really good at what they do, and there's something really admirable about that. And also, much like when you see inspiring athletics being played, when you are in the crowd of a concert, just the emotions and the connectivity you feel is something that I don't think can be replicated anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you hear about, we see it at nationals sometimes, some of the athletes, the kids skipping homecoming to compete at nationals, but the girls 18s specifically, but to skip homecoming to go to a music festival.
Yeah.
I think that's the first I've
with
heard.
your dad.
For sure. With
That's
your dad,
that's
yes.
quite the memory.
With your
Absolutely.
dad, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know that a lot of high schoolers would make the same choice, but hey, I have no regrets.
That's a great memory.
Do you remember your first ever concert?
Yeah, my first concert was Joan Jett and REO Speedwagon.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Great.
That's good.
That's awesome.
So-
Curtis is nodding his head like hell.
And then the first concert that I wanted to go to was Hillary Duff.
Really?
Hillary Duff? Okay.
Yeah. So I've got quite the range.
Okay.
Big
That's
Lizzie McGuire, is that
Oh
right?
yeah,
Is
Lizzie
that right?
McGuire. Grew up on
fan?
Lizzie McGuire.
What a good show.
Loved
Wow.
Hillary
What a
Duff.
memory there.
The Metamorphosis album was on replay in my bedroom.
Are you Spotify or Apple Music?
Apple Music.
Ooh.
Sorry.
All right, wrap the interview
Sorry.
up. You gotta go.
You mentioned just like seeing the performers up there and like, being so good at their craft and into their craft. Do you, as you're watching them, as you're seeing those performers, is there anything you like kind of take away from their performances, their love for their craft, that you bring back to your own craft as well? Yeah,
I think just the passion and the the presentness that you have to do that
Mhm.
is something that I also feel as an athlete. To be your best, you have to connect to those things, and I think it's also really cool to me because it's something that I wish I could do. Like being a rock star would be so fun, and just
I can see
I
it.
don't know, having that much influence over a crowd.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Again, similarly, when you're winning or you get a huge point in a match and the crowd goes nuts, it's just such a euphoric feeling.
Right.
And yeah, I can see why people who either retire or musicians who no longer play, like that high or that rush, you can't find it anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I think overall why I enjoy it is just because it's so admirable to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. I think that's a really good comparison, like to, like you said, the game of volleyball. Can you talk about two things? One, how you were introduced to the game, and when you really started to develop that passion for it, and when you started to discover like you can make an admirable career out of it as well.
Yeah. My dad actually coached high school volleyball.
He's doing everything. Shout out to
my
Dad.
shout out to Bob. He made me a very well-rounded human being. So I got dragged, to the gym from a young age, and so was just exposed to it and thought it was cool. Thought it was cool that there were girls that were, throwing themselves around, throwing their bodies around, maximizing, their athleticism. And I also liked that it was an indoor sport. You don't have to deal with the weather.
In Colorado, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's important.
Variability in Colorado is
Yeah.
nuts. Could be
Yep.
snowing in the morning and then 70 by the afternoon. So I started playing organized volleyball when I was in 3rd grade.
Love the word organized.
Yeah, well, actually, I started club when I was in 3rd grade, which is nuts.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
I sat the bench as an 8-year-old with 12-year-olds, but,
Mhm.
Still.
That's awesome.
And I really give credit to both my dad and the coaches in my life who allowed me to play with girls who were older than me. I think that forces kids to grow faster and get better because
Absolutely.
you're playing with people who are, 1, more physical than you, 2, have a little bit more body awareness,
Yeah.
and usually have a little bit more experience in whatever they're doing. So I think that being exposed to that just helped me develop quicker. And then once I was around kids my age, it was like, oh, okay, I might be a little more polished than they are,
Yeah.
which is, it's cool. But also I think it instills that little bit of drive in, this is kind of fun getting better and seeing the strides you can make and not knowing how much you can push your abilities.
Mhm.
And that's still, I think, what makes this whole thing, being an athlete, fun is I don't feel like I've gotten to my best, and there's still room to grow. And, this approach of that, I think a lot of us in the national team, Jim has for sure, our staff, is just being lifelong learners,
Mhm.
and the possibilities are endless when you approach it that way.
Yeah, I think that's like insanely incredible coming from someone of your caliber. Just like talking about just how much more there is to learn and
Yeah.
how much more there is to just get better. So, how do you stay motivated when you have those days when you're or are more frustrated and you're not quite
Yeah.
grasping something?
Oh yeah.
And
Well, for sure, this experience coming off a pretty significant knee injury, has forced me to relearn things and
Mhm.
relearn mechanics and relearn how to use my body to set. Things that felt super easy before. Now, 2 months ago when I was being reintroduced to jump setting, or just having to move to a ball off the net, for me it was like, oh I don't know, are we allowed to cuss on this podcast? I'll keep it PC.
We might be able to bleep
shoot.
it out, but that's fine.
No, just a different level of mental engagement that I hadn't experienced in a really long time. And so on those days where it feels really hard, I think for me, being able to take a beat, give myself some space usually. Good night's sleep solves a lot of both feelings and just clears the brain a little bit.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I think I have a good lens on knowing that if today was hard, tomorrow is an opportunity to be better, and it will be better.
Mhm.
And having that approach, the growth curve isn't linear. It never is for anyone who's doing anything that's hard or worthwhile. And so I think giving yourself that grace as well. I feel so fortunate also that our staff, spend so much of their time working with me, trying to get me back to a place to compete for an Olympic roster spot next summer. And I think when you have people like that who are so encouraging and have the investment in you, that also just helps the motivation stay high, because then you when you're so into yourself, you look at what people around you are doing for you, and then that flip in the gratitude lens kind of diminishes everything else a little bit.
Yeah. I appreciate you diving in and digging into your mentality around adversity and challenges as well. Thank you for that, sharing that. We didn't mention before, but for listeners, we're live-ish at the AVCA Convention right now. Live-ish.
We've
This
got
episode will
some
come out
trucks
later.
and cranes.
We have some
behind us.
forklifts, and
trucks.
these mics are really good, but you
Perfect.
might hear some background noise for the listeners there. It's setup day. But kind of moving on, and you touched on your club experience a little bit, playing up as an 8-year-old with 12-year-olds. That's insane. But what club did you play for in Denver? And I guess talk about those early days with club volleyball.
Yeah, from 12 to 18, I played at Front Range Volleyball Club in Centennial, Colorado. And I think something that I am really grateful for is I was instilled with what sacrifice and what effort and what dedication looked like, and not only what it looked like and that it was difficult and hard, but that you could reap the benefits of that, and that usually came through either seeing growth in yourself and your team, or the results on the court. And so where other clubs were practicing only 2 to 3 times a week, us setters were practicing 5 times a week. So I know, and I don't know that there's a right or wrong. I could argue both ways actually, into amount of practice time, and just I think it's all dependent on what intentionality you have of that time, and that's ultimately what you get out of it. So I was really fortunate to have great coaches. Jim Stone and Jim Murray were my coaches from 16 to 18, and they, I think, exposed me to high-level international setting and showed me the capacity for where you can take this skill ultimately. And so I think
cool.
that planted the seed a little bit of, oh, okay, this actually could, maybe if I work hard enough and go through the steps. It wasn't like I at 16 was like, yes, I want to be a professional volleyball player, but I was like, okay, maybe if I continue to work hard, go to a good college, do well there, then I could have an opportunity to do this, which fortunately I did, and I am. That's why I'm sitting here with you fine folks today.
We're thankful for that. I feel like your coaching brain kind of turned on a little bit there.
A little bit.
Wanted to dive into the question.
Yeah, I do. I like to, pick and listen when I can. But
there's that noise.
All right, there's that noise. I was about to say there's that noise we were talking about. But I think it's a good segue to talk about how you were introduced to the national team.
Yeah.
From that collegiate level. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I actually was invited to come train the summer before my senior year of college. I believe it was summer of 2018 for the Pan Am team. It was Lauren Carlini, myself, and Kelly Hunter competing for 2 setting spots. And the training block was about a month and a half, maybe. And I made that roster and was able to go down to the Dominican and support Lauren and be kind of that second setter. And yeah, that was my first just real exposure to being in our gym, how we train, what the cadence of that week looks like. And then once I graduated college, that following summer, after I'd played a half season abroad in Italy, got the invite back from Karch, and there were a lot of us young kids coming in that summer, and we were given opportunities to play on big stages, and that's something that I will forever be grateful for, was just the chance or the opportunity to see what I could do. And that's a testament to Karch, and just it shows how much talent we have in this country, and it's a constant revolving door. In the national team, not a lot of people know that we are just trying to make every roster. You're never quote unquote safe, which makes it really competitive and really fun and pushes all of us to be our best all the time. But that was my initial entry into the national team.
Could you kind of expand a little bit on that culture that you just talked about, just the competitiveness, position to position,
with the overall atmosphere?
The atmosphere and just the talent that comes into that gym. It's you play college, club, it's such a big pool. But then that as you go up, it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Right.
The best of the best end up in the USA gym. But could you talk a little bit about just the culture with the U.S. Women's National Team?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna speak for the setters, and my senior year of high school, as part of the Gatorade player or Under Armour the Under Armour All-American match that they had. They would bring a bunch of us in, and I remember Micah Hancock. That was her senior year at Penn State, and it was in Oklahoma, where she's from, and just being like, oh my God, this girl is so good. It's so cool. Like, I'm even awesome. In the same space as her. And then obviously getting to play against Lauren for 2 years in college. And then you get to the national team, and it's like, oh, these people that one you looked up to, or even competed against, are now your teammates. And it's kind of a fun balance of figuring out how to be your best without comparison, and then also knowing that the better Lauren or Micah do, the better our team does.
Right.
And the better they do, the more that pushes me to up my game. So I think if you maintain that level of perspective in our gym, I think that frees you up the most to be your best, hopefully, and be the best for our program and our team.
That's really cool. To have that buy-in too from all the athletes as well.
Yeah.
Knowing that you all have a greater purpose, a total purpose too, with everybody on the team, and that's to be the best in the world.
Exactly.
And you're only going to get there fighting each other.
Yeah, exactly.
But you got to bring yourselves up too and support each other.
Right. It's
balance, like you said.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty healthy balance. Obviously, all of us, we want to make the roster.
Yeah.
We want to be on the court. I think innately we're all competitive people, and you want that for yourself.
Yeah.
But the harsh reality is, for example, the Olympic roster, we can only take 12, and so it's a fight every day to try to perform and do it under the parameters and stress of the reality of being in our gym. So.
Can you talk a little bit about how maybe the culture has changed from when you first were exposed to the national team up until now?
Yeah. I think it's always hard to speak from your first experience in anything because you're so raw in it all.
Wide-eyed.
So you have a little, I'm sure that the memory biases are probably a little inaccurate, but just when we had Sue Enquist come in during the COVID summer of 2020, she helped us get really clear on where we were at and where we wanted to go and the processes that needed to be in place to get there. And so I think from a structural culture standpoint, we're a little more organized and clear on what we want as a player-driven program, and something that is a huge testament to Karch and our staff is giving us that freedom and allowing us to kind of drive the ship a little bit with that. But that was definitely a little bit of a shift from my first 2 summers on the team.
We're here at the AVCA Convention also, same time as the NCAA Final Four.
Yeah.
Exciting time for volleyball here in Tampa, Florida. Could you just talk a little bit about your collegiate experience and then maybe specifically kind of diving into your NCAA tournament experience too?
Yeah. So I played at the University of Illinois. Played my first 2 years for Kevin Hambley, who is now the head coach at Stanford, and then Chris Thomas, who is still currently the head coach at the University of Illinois. And my senior year, we made it to the Final Four. And we were up 2-0 on Nebraska and then got reverse swept to lose.
Man.
So it was a little bit of a heartbreaker. But I have nothing but really fond memories of just the environment here at the Final Four.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Like I said earlier, just the volleyball community and people who care about the sport and good volleyball are all in one place. And it's a fun social time as well. And people that you connect with that you haven't seen in years, or just, I don't know, there's a lot of touch points that that you don't really find anywhere else, because this is like the one time that everyone's in the same place. So I'm really looking forward, like I said, to the matches tomorrow. I have a predicted or hopeful winner, but
you want to drop that here?
You can't just like say that.
It'll be
airing?
later.
When is
This is airing first of the year, I think.
Oh,
So
perfect.
it's-
So
we can talk about
when Nebraska wins,
Ooh,
I'll say
hot take. Okay.
no. I'm a huge fan of Bergen Riley, their setter,
Okay, yeah.
freshman setter. She's running that thing, man. It's so fun to watch, and I think just the poise that she brings for a freshman is so admirable. I get
It's hard to
inspired
find a
and
freshman,
amped up. You're watching her, so I gotta support my girl Jordyn Larson.
I was gonna say you got a teammate on the
Yeah, I
sideline
know.
too.
Come on.
In a coaching role, yeah.
And I don't know. I think also I had the opportunity to be at the record-breaking match
Oh, awesome.
in Nebraska
That's so
earlier, and so I don't know. There was just like a little fire instilled in me, being amped about that, and just how cool, and just not only for our sport but for female athletes and women's athletics. Yeah, they're my team that I'm ride or dying with.
Cool. The GBR Nation, they go hard.
they do go hard. Husker
Go
I
hard
was
in
Nation.
just
the
saying,
paint.
I was
Oh
telling
my
these
goodness.
two, our flight was like pretty full of Nebraska
Yes.
fans, and
It was
they.
insane.
What's funny is like you and maybe from where we're coming from, we're not running into the other schools, Texas, Wisconsin, Pitt, but Nebraska. I always see them wearing the
Always. It
fans
never
always
fails.
wearing their red.
Yeah, hey,
Surprised you don't have
they
red on.
show up and they
No.
show out. I will at the game. I will. No, I actually am really hoping for a Wisconsin-Nebraska final.
That's my prediction too.
Yeah,
Wisconsin,
I
I'm
think
not gonna tell you
that-
my winner because it might be a little different. But
Hey, you want to put money on it?
oh, how much we talking here?
Cut the, no,
I
cut
got
the feed.
$3.
We can make it a low stakes bet. That's great. No, I think both teams are playing just really inspiring volleyball.
Yeah.
And love to see it. So if I wear red to that match, then no one will know which side I'm.
There you go.
Which side I'm supporting, but this podcast will know.
You mentioned the record-breaking match that you went to. What was that atmosphere like? Like, that had to have been killer. Like, what was it like being there in attendance?
Yeah, a couple of us USA Volleyball athletes from the men's and women's team we got to go for the first set and a half, and the electricity in that stadium was unreal. Cool. The emotions of it all for me in the intro, seeing my teammates, Justine, Jordyn, and just people who have gone through the Nebraska program. It was the coolest thing, because it is so impressive what John has been able to sustain and grow, and I think anyone who helps contribute to the sport in that positive way should be celebrated. So
yeah. Do you have any words of advice for either the Nebraska team or all?
You want me to tell them now when it's airing January 1st?
Well, maybe we could pull a little clip for.
No, I'm just kidding. If I were to be talking to any of them right now, I would just encourage them to really enjoy the moment. The hard work has been done. The hard work has been accumulated throughout the spring, the summer, and the fall. And now this is where you get to be free and have fun and enjoy working with your teammates to achieve something huge, and relish in that. So that would be.
Your sister, Lauren, is that right?
Yeah.
She was a setter at Denver and now is at Purdue.
Yep, she just finished at Purdue.
Yeah, what's it like watching her play, especially in your position as well?
Yeah, it's been really special for me. Our relationship has changed a bit in the last couple of years. From
so?
It used to go from it was
from
kinda she didn't I think it was difficult to be in the same sport and let alone the same position, and some of the comparison aspects of that were hard, and I can't imagine, because I was on the flip side clearly, and that's kind of what happens when you are the oldest and youngest, which but I think for me it's been so cool to watch her develop as a player and a person, and this fall when she played at Illinois, it felt like a full circle moment for me.
That's cool.
To watch your younger sister, who had supported you in that gym so much over the course of my time in college, to then be able to do the same for her in a place that felt really special to me was a memory that I will cherish forever.
What's the age difference?
We're 4 years apart.
4 years apart.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we never overlapped in high school. Thank
Pretty
God.
significant. Yeah.
Parents may have did that strategically, maybe.
Quite possibly.
Or accidentally.
Quite possibly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty significant age gap, like we talked about. I mean, now that your relationship's more on the friendlier side, I guess, less competitive. Do you two interact and kind of talk? Did you give her advice? Did she seek that advice?
Yeah.
As,
I think it's cool because we both approach the conversation with a lot more openness.
Yeah.
So I think her curiosity into what I'm thinking or seeing is more prevalent now, which is awesome. And the fact that she's able to be a little more vulnerable with either what she's feeling or thinking, I feel like I'm able to just not that I think that I have the best advice ever, but I can share my experiences with dealing in a lot of those situations with her, and hopefully, much as I have with a lot of older people in my life, she can take those tools without necessarily making the mistakes, but then use that guidance to have informed decisions moving forward into certain situations. So I feel nothing but love and support from her as I've been on the national team and through this recovery process, it feels awesome to have a younger sister that looks up to you and wants you to succeed. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
When you go home and you're going home for the holidays here soon, is it all volley talk? With your dad, the coach, your sister, you, or do you leave
go to some
work
rock
at
concerts
work?
here and there too.
Yeah, no. You know what? There is some. I think volleyball is such a big part of my life, and something that my dad coaches club now.
What club does he coach for?
He coaches for Momentum.
Okay. Yeah.
And so he, I think, asking about drills or some like how to train certain things or asking my opinion on that. Those conversations definitely happen. But no, I think I don't think volleyball is the main
just that
point
Thanksgiving
of
dinner
conversation
talk
for us.
Not a tension point discussion.
No, definitely not.
Okay,
I think it's like I said, it's such a big part of my life and has been of our lives that I think a lot of things stem off of volleyball,
for sure,
which is really cool.
Yeah.
But a lot of people in our lives are people from volleyball, and a lot of what my next 8 months looks like is revolved around volleyball.
Yeah.
8 months, and not only that, but post Olympics playing for League One in Salt Lake City. Whoop, whoop.
Yep. I think that's a good segue.
I was
into
like,
League
killed it
One,
with the
right?
transition there.
I know, right? Beat us to the punch. But I mean, can you just talk to us a little bit about League One? Why you're choosing to play and expectations and just a little bit about the excitement around it.
Yeah. It's a really cool time in volleyball for women's volleyball in America. We've got PVF starting this spring, and then League One, who a bunch of us former and current national team members are playing for, not only U.S. but international players as well, are on board with, and USA Volleyball just announced their partnership with as well. And so I don't know, I think for a lot of us, this idea of being grassroots and building from the clubs up and creating that sense of community with the clubs was really enticing to us, and knowing that had been kind of in the works for the last 4 years, a lot of time and effort had been spent in trying to make this sustainable and the best for not only us professionals but girls in club, and knowing that it is the largest girls youth sport in America, there's definitely a need and a want for something like this. So I don't know that it was hard for many of us to be like, yeah, I want to be a part of something that's not only potentially going to be the next major sports league in America, but something that can really make an impact in young girls. I mean, our clubs, our pro teams are going to be practicing in our local clubs' gyms, and so to be in front of
cool.
athletes, I mean, I was inspired just watching like our 18s team when I was 12, 13, 14. So let alone being able to see professional athletes, strong women, kind of on that center stage every day is really something that I would have just chomped at the bit at as a kid.
Yeah,
so
I think that really reinforced just like, look, this is what it looks like. You want to be a professional, you even want to play in college. Look at their dedication and their commitment. I mean, as a coach, I can only say it so much, and just they just need a visual. So that's amazing to hear that. Yeah, because
the girls a lot of girls don't even know that it's possible that you can go be a professional volleyball player, which it's hard to know when our only option has really been to play overseas. So it's cool. I feel really fortunate to still be playing in this kind of historic pivot and transition in women's American volleyball.
Yeah, and like you said, just to have that so accessible to younger girls.
Exactly.
To see it, they see collegiate volleyball, And now last couple of years, it's on the bigger networks, accessible to them to watch. This year's finals going to be on ABC.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
It's huge.
But yeah, and just to have that accessibility, because like you said, like professional volleyball's there, but it's overseas and you can watch it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to find those streams sometimes, and find where to watch it and where to watch the players that you care about too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited for Love, and like you said, Pro Volleyball Fed as well, and then Athletes Unlimited just finished their third season, and they're doing great. But yeah, it's an exciting time.
It's
awesome.
I think just the fact that we have options.
Yes.
Is really, it's awesome, and I think, I can speak from everyone that I've played with, and we want all of it to succeed.
Yeah.
We want everyone to do well. We want the sport to do well, because ultimately, I think that just establishes a level of legitimacy for volleyball in America, which will in turn be beneficial for all of us who are here at this convention and in the sport. So yeah, it's cool.
And I know you talked about, we all want every single league to succeed. Yeah. And you mentioned earlier kind of like how you mentioned the competitive nature of the national team and, Setter specifically. What does this do, having, all those options, to the competitive nature, of each league and, those expectations for League One? Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, it's like having two ice cream shops in the same small town, right?
Yeah.
And the best thing to do if you're competing is to put that other ice cream shop right across the street from one of them, because it's ultimately it's ultimately going to force both to be better, for the athletes, to be more organized, to try and get us more pay. I don't know. So it's it feels like a healthy level of competitiveness, in my opinion. And I don't know. I've got all of us have known or played with people who are playing in both, and then also in AU. And so, like I said, we all just want, I think, the success of the sport.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's able to find its path, and whatever that looks like down the road. But I don't know. Like I said, it's cool to be a part of something that seems a little bit different. I think League One seems a little bit different in terms of how professional leagues have been approached in the sport of volleyball in the past. So I don't know. It feels exciting to be a part of something worthwhile.
Yeah. 2025, is that correct? Or?
Yep. So we'll start our preseason in November of 24, and then first match is in January of 25.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are the sort of the conversation you talked a little bit about? Just wanting to, why you want to be a part of the league, but what are some of the conversations that you're having with some of your teammates? Kelsey, Jordyn Thompson.
Yeah.
As you're kind of like getting excited to get out there on the court.
Yeah.
And competing with and against each other.
Yeah. They're in the thick of their overseas seasons right now. This next month and a half, mentally and physically, it's like, God, it's one of the hardest things when you're overseas, because it's the holidays and you're like, I just want to see my family. I want to celebrate Christmas with my family.
Yeah.
And it's like that halfway point in the season where it's like, all right, we're about to get over the hump, and then there's still so much more to go.
Yep.
But no, I think when we get on these calls with League One, all of us are founding athletes, and just the intentionality and the time and care that's put into the decisions that are being made just reflect how good they want to be for us and for the athlete experience. And I don't know, all of us are so stoked, really. It's exciting to have something in the I mean, we don't get to plan our lives very often.
That's true. Yeah.
If in this profession, and so to have a little bit of a blueprint or an idea this next year of what that looks like for all of us is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I know that the way that the season's set up, it gives us a little bit of downtime, because right now we go almost full year, once the club season ends, we're back in the national team gym within the week or a week after, depending on what the constraints of VNL is that summer.
Yeah.
And then usually our club teams want us right after the national team summer is over. So it's a grind. And I know I'm speaking for them and saying that they're going to look forward to some time off after the Olympics. So
your face lit up when you just talked about that
I mean,
downtime.
it's
What am I going to do?
Do you already have like some things planned or?
I don't. Maybe
since you
some
get to plan
concerts.
everything
Some
now,
concerts.
Concerts,
No. I have nothing planned other than the month in front of me.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just so excited to see what love becomes.
Yeah.
And then for Pro Volleyball Federation to start up in the new year.
Yep.
And then Athletes Unlimited continuing. It's an exciting time, like you said. And it's just only going to help the sport grow from the bottom up, too. And
Exactly.
it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of volleyball.
I know a lot. Volleypalooza.
Volley is life.
Volley is life.
Yeah. But I mean, I love these kind of just steps forward of, what volleyball and competitive volleyball in America is making and all the history that you're a part of.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool, or I think it's like a really good moment to take a couple steps back a couple years ago to talk about your experience also making history, winning a gold medal.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just talk us through your experience being part of the the team in Tokyo that brought home the gold?
Yeah. Probably the most special group of people that I have had the privilege of working with and for in my life. And not only to say that they are great people, but great volleyball players. And I don't know, it seems almost like a fever dream now. COVID in general seems like a fever dream.
That's true.
But being there and having the parameters that we did as athletes in those summer games of not having our friends or family in the stands to watch us, I think only solidified the bond of the 12 of us who were there, because you couldn't go see your family afterwards. You could call them, but we spent so much time together, and it was fun because we all genuinely enjoyed each other's company too. But I don't know that I'll ever experience anything like that ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Nor should any team is going to vary. But I really cherish the time and the moments, and obviously the accomplishment with those women, and feel great pride to have been able to represent our program and this country and do something that we've been striving for so long. And to know so many great athletes and women who had come through this program and fallen short of trying to achieve that dream. Just, I could feel the weight of that a little bit and feel really, really proud. Yeah.
You mentioned just not being able to see your family and friends on the biggest stage of your career. And an eerie atmosphere. I remember I was sitting way up high on the rafters. But it was an eerie feeling in the gym and so quiet.
Yeah. I think the volleyball arena held 40,000.
Yeah.
I think
that's right.
It's a big arena.
It was beautiful too. It was
Beautiful
really
arena.
a shame that.
Yeah. But I mean, how much does that, as you're talking to the team, coaching staff, how much does that like just energizing you and motivating you guys to, you're qualified for Paris, so the team is going to be there. Roster's not set yet, but just being able to have a quote unquote normal Olympic games.
Yeah, I don't know that we talk about it much, but I have voiced before for myself that a huge motivation is to be able to get back to that stage and win any match in the Olympics and be able to look up and see my family and friends and people who have supported you throughout your career and who love you. That's just shared moments like that are so special and really connective in terms of, I don't know, so many of our families sacrificed a lot. Club volleyball is not easy. And so to be a parent and to see your child kind of make it and know that what you invested into them, paid off. And not to say that it needs to pay off, but I'm sure as a parent that's a very proud moment.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and to like just experience the city too, and
yeah, exactly. I know.
Get
The
some of
city
the
Tokyo
local
is so
Paris
cool, and
food there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tokyo is such a cool place, and that was my first time there, and I was a little bummed that I didn't get to explore it as much as I would have hoped. But
yeah, Japan's a really, really awesome country if you ever get a chance to. Yeah.
Gotta get back. But also, I mean, downside, your family, friends aren't there, but also really cool to be a part of such a unique Olympic Games too. And those likely will never happen again.
For sure. I hope not.
Hope not, yes. For sure. But I guess we're kind of wrapping up here, but thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk with us and catch up.
Thank you guys
anything
for
else you'd
having
like
me.
to just share or talk about before we let you go here and get back to your busy schedule?
No, I don't think that I don't think I have anything else to add. I just really appreciate you guys' time, and thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. Where can people follow you on social media, or just to follow your journey with the national team? And
I am on Instagram, Jordyn_Poulter. Super creative name, I know. And that's my main form of social media.
Awesome. Yeah, and of course, everyone follow Love Volleyball as well. Putting out some great updates, some great content.
LOVB.
Yep.
And League One Salt Lake is where Haley Washington and I will be playing in 2025.
That's cool.
Yeah, neighboring states to our home state of Colorado. Oh, yeah. And we're no stranger to the mountains and the altitude, so looking forward to getting back at it.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Well, yeah, thank you again. And I'm sure we'll catch up again down the road as well.
Yeah, sweet. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year, I should say, because
that's true.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
Kind of circling back to the little cliffhanger we left on from the beginning of the intro to the episode. It is insane that Jordyn missed her homecoming in high school to attend Riot Fest in Denver with her dad. That is insane. I was just thinking back, how many of you, go to concerts like that with not only your dad, but maybe your parents or something like that there too. I know definitely my parents aren't into rock music, but I do know that for something Motown related or anything along those, 70s, 80s, my parents may be all on top of it too. But that is just insane that it's insane and really heartwarming to hear, that her and her dad have such a close relationship like that. And I still think that they still attend like a lot of events like that whenever she has time and she's in town there too. So great to hear that she just has an amazing support fan base at home in her family. Funny to bring up the side bet we both tried to stand on business on and lock in, but Wisconsin and Nebraska both didn't make it to the finals. So there goes that out the window. But again, shout out to the University of Texas and Asia O'Neil. You guys killed it, and congratulations on winning that back-to-back national championship. Just kind of wrapping things up with an amazing interview with an amazing setter on our women's national team. There's a lot of excitement around League One Volleyball and League One Volleyball Salt Lake City, to be specific, to be exact. That is the team Jordyn will be playing on in their inaugural season that is coming up in 2025. I love that she touched base on the anticipation and excitement around there too. We cannot wait to follow along for that season as well. Preseason starts in November, right after the Paris 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games. The inaugural season starts January 2025, which will be here before you know it. Again, Jordyn, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule over at the AVCA Convention to sit down with Stephen and I to have an amazing conversation. It was a pleasure getting to know you and, just getting to know a lot of your interests outside of the game of volleyball, music included. And really great to hear about your, background and introduction to volleyball, all those good stuff in between too. So again, thank you so much and best of luck in all of your competition endeavors coming up in the near future. So with that being said, on to our upcoming events. First up, we have the 2024 KC MLK Girls 18s National Qualifier from January 13th through the 15th in Kansas City, Missouri. After that, we have the 2024 Windy City Girls 18s National Qualifier, January 13th through 15th in Schaumburg, Illinois. There's also the 2024 Winter Volleyball Championship Boys National Qualifier, also on January 13th through the 15th in Chicago. The 2024 Lone Star Girls 18s National Qualifier, little bit of a date change, January 19th through the 21st in Austin, Texas. Also in Austin, Texas, we will have the 2024 Southwest Boys National Qualifier. Again, same dates, January 19th through the 21st, and in Austin, Texas. Registration is also still open for the 2024 Salt Lake City Showdown qualifiers for Weekend 1, being held on April 6th through the 8th, and Weekend 2 being held on April 12th through the 14th. Lot of girls 18s and 18th overall qualifier happening this weekend as well too. But registration is still open for a lot of the other age divisions as well too. Go ahead and check usavolleyball.org for more details on upcoming events or any of the events that we talked about just now. Now, on to the pro side of things. First up, we have, and that's it for the pro side of things there too. That's a little bit of a corny joke on my end, just letting you know that there is nothing on the pro side of things there too. Very quiet winter in January for the pro side of things there too, but that should be revving up pretty soon as well too, so stand on the lookout for those things there too. All updates there can also be found at usavolleyball.org. Everyone, remember, listeners can rate, review, and share this podcast with your friends, families, and teammates, as it really, really, really helps the podcast grow and reach new listeners too. It's been amazing to see the progress over these last few years, and I'm excited for what we've got in store for you in 2024. And also remember, check out our video episodes on our website and on YouTube. Thank you all for your continued support of this podcast. We can't do it without you. If you know a club that should be featured or a story that you would like us to share, remember, you can always email us at the USAV show at usav.org. Leave us feedback. Let us know how we're doing. And also let us know about any future topics that you want us to cover on the show. That being said, new episodes are always dropping every other week. And until then, thank you all for listening to another episode of the USA Volleyball Show. We are the official podcast of USA Volleyball.
This has been the USA Volleyball Show with Clarence Hughes and Stephen Munson. Produced by Curtis Ward. Our content producer is Laura Fawcett. Our marketing lead is Bree Jaycox. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to rate and review. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the USA Volleyball Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.